पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः. Let us read from the 20th verse. कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसंग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते. यद्यद् आचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेव इतरः जनः anuvartate. So whatever Shrestha, a leader, does, or whatever an important person does, this is what other people follow. That's the nature of the people. Sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanuvartate. And whatever he considers as pramanam, by pramana is meant the valid means of knowledge. So whatever he looks upon as valid, whatever kind of beliefs that he entertains, whatever it is that he gives reality to, whatever he considers to be truth, automatically other people also follow in his belief. In short, Lord Krishna is just relating here a common psychology, that it is common for people always to follow those who are leaders, and also in their belief to follow those which the leaders believe. Hey Arjuna, you are in the position of leadership. You are an important person, and therefore you must do not only what is right for you, but in whatever you do, not only should you take into account what is that you like to do, but in whatever you do, you should also take into account the fact that it will have an impact upon other people, and therefore whatever you do must be for the good of other people as well. Similarly also, whatever you believe to be true, must also keep that into mind. Arjuna may ask a question, but Lord, is there somebody like this? Is there somebody who really takes the responsibility? The idea is Lord Krishna is asking us to take responsibility. Because each one of us is enjoying the privilege of being an important person to some, and that puts a responsibility on us. And more important person we are, more responsibility there is. If you are leader of the whole country, that's a tremendous responsibility. The whole country is looking up to you. Every teacher has a responsibility, every parent has a responsibility, every boss has a responsibility, everybody has a responsibility, because everybody is a leader for somebody. Lord Krishna then presents himself as an example. Hey Arjuna, if you do not find anybody else, you need not go anywhere else to look for an example. Why don't you look at me? So Lord Krishna says, hey Arjuna, why don't you look at me? In the next few verses. So let us read the next 3 verses here. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम् वर्त एव च कर्मणि यदि ह्यहं न वर्तेयम् जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहम् संकरस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामि माः प्रजाः। न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम त्रिषु लोकेषु किंचन। हे पार्थ, हे अर्जुन, त्रिषु लोकेषु, in all the three worlds, न मे किंचन कर्तव्यम अस्ति, there is nothing to be done for me. In all the three worlds, in the Vedic times they used to look upon the world, the whole universe is consisting of three worlds: the world of the humans, the intermediate world, and the world of gods. So, three worlds means the whole universe. Lord Krishna says, look at me, Arjuna, there is nothing that I have to do or I have to accomplish in all the three worlds. In the whole universe, there is nothing that remains to be accomplished for me. I have accomplished everything. He is God. And who is God? The one who creates the world, one who sustains, one who destroys. He is a creator, sustainer, dissolver. He is omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent. And therefore, He is both the material as well as intelligent cause. He is a creator as well as creation. And therefore, here Arjuna, I am the whole creation, and therefore everything is everything is attained by me. There is nothing that remains to be attained by me, because He is everything. He is complete, He is limitless, He is everything. And so that's what the first line says, that in the three worlds, hey Arjuna, there is nothing whatever that remains to be attained by me. Na anavaptam avaptavyam. There is nothing that is unaccomplished which needs to be accomplished by me. That's the definition of God. Now, if there is nothing to be accomplished by God, if there is nothing to be achieved by Him, then there is no reason why He should do anything, because normally we do something because there is something to accomplish as a result of doing something. Lord Krishna says, I am the one who has accomplished everything that can possibly be accomplished, because I am the Lord of everything. And therefore, there is no reason, logically speaking, there is no need on my part to do anything at all. If I sit and do nothing, then also it's fine, because Swami, I am retired. Why retired? I have everything that I need. So we retire when we have everything that we think we need, that's all. And why do we? So that we don't have to do anything. Lord Krishna can very well retire because He has everything. And still, Varta eva cha karmani, and still I am engaged in action. So Lord Krishna says, I am Shrestha Purusha, I am the most exalted one, I am the most important one in the whole universe, because I am God. And therefore, as God, as being the supreme leader, look what I do. I set an example by my own behavior. Varta eva cha karmani. I always remain engaged in action. Now when here Lord Krishna uses the pronoun I, now what is meant by that? Does it mean the person who is Lord Krishna? Then also is applicable. Or it means Lord that He is. As Krishna also, Arjuna, I am always active. From the day Lord Krishna was born, He was active. And until He passed away. Constantly active. Doing what? Just doing good to the people. Because there was nothing that He needed. There was nothing that He demanded. Naturally, He was God, and therefore His life was totally dedicated to doing good for the people. Vart evacha karmani. Even as Krishna also, you find me always engaged in action. In fact, Lord Krishna had put a condition that I will not fight the battle. So when the choice was given to Arjuna and Duryodhana, when both of them went to Lord Krishna seeking his help, then Lord Krishna had to do justice to both of them because he cannot be partial, and therefore he gave a choice. But all right, on one side I am there, but I will not wield any, I am unarmed, will not wield any weapon, will not fight the battle. I, inactive I. On the other hand, on the other side is my army, a whole battalion, well equipped army is there. So you choose what you want. So Duryodhana, as we know, chose the army, and Arjuna chose Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna was not going to do anything, and still is doing something. He is still acting as a charioteer. There is no need for him to do. There is no need for Lord Krishna to do anything that he is doing. And Lord Krishna says, still I am always engaged in action. Because I know that, why do you do that? Suppose, O Lord, suppose you don't get engaged in action, suppose you just sit quietly, what will happen? The next verse, Yadi Hyayam Navartayam Jatu Karmani Atandritaha. Should I not engage myself in action? Atandritaha. Tandra means being lazy. So without laziness, so vigilantly, if I am not all the time active, vigilantly, Mama Vartman Vartante Manusyaha Partha Sarvasah. Hey Partha, hey Arjuna, Manusyaha Sarvasah Mama Vartman Anuvartante. People who follow my example in every way. People who do what I do, that's what they will do. That is how the Rama Avatara, particularly the incarnation as Lord Rama, was meant to set an example. That is why Lord Rama is said to be the embodiment of dharma, embodiment of righteousness. And his avatara, his incarnation was specifically for setting an example of what is meant by righteous behavior. What it means to be a son, what it means to be a father, what it means to be husband, friend and everything. So he played all these different, what even it means to be an enemy and friend. All these different roles he played to set an example. And he demonstrated that leading a righteous way of life is not an easy life at all. It involves a lot of pain. If you want to follow the path of dharma, you must be prepared to suffer the pain. If you want to be truthful, you may be required to renounce even the whole kingdom. So we also see the life of Lord Rama as a life of suffering. What you may call right, not suffering from our standpoint, not a life of sorrow, but life of pain, because life of righteousness always brings about pain. And that is how many stories are told in our Puranas of the people who were committed to certain values of life and what all pain they had to go through. Meaning thereby that whoever wants to lead a life of dharma or righteousness must be prepared for that pain. So he suffered the pain to set an example. So Lord Krishna says, look, I have no need to do that. And still, I constantly engage myself in action and do what is right thing to do, because I know that people will invariably follow my example in every way. Let them follow your example. What will happen? Utside yurime lokaha na kuryam karma chedaham. If I were not to perform action, these people would perish, because they will become inactive. Then Lord Krishna says, action is that which keeps the whole wheel of universe going. Everything in the universe is constantly active. Even atom also is constantly active. And not only active, doing what is to be done. Not is that, see, the things in the universe are all the time in activity. That activity is not vainful activity. Every atom also is engaged in activity which is a appropriate activity to keep this universe, the wheel of universe going. Lord Krishna says, I also therefore do that. And if I become inactive, because I don't need to perform an action for my sake, and therefore if I become inactive, people will think that that is the way to live life. That's the way to live spiritual life. So Lord Krishna here in fact wants to say to Arjuna that even if you want to live a spiritual life, you lead an active spiritual life. Although renunciation is definitely an accepted way of spiritual life, particularly in this chapter, Lord Krishna is emphasizing that even leading a spiritual life also may lead an active spiritual life. Because it is possible that you may renounce action by perhaps without being prepared for the renunciation. You can never go wrong when you are active. By active I mean you can never go wrong when you are performing your duties or performing your actions in that spirit of yajna, spirit of offering. You can never go wrong. Whereas there is a possibility that one may go wrong when one renounces, when it comes to renunciate, because it is possible that one may not have that maturity required for renunciation, in which case that could be wrong, whereas one can never go wrong in performing the actions in the spirit of yajna. This is what Lord thinks the people in general. As far as a few people are concerned, he has no objection to their being renunciates. But in general, Lord Krishna feels that people follow in that class where most of them require action as a vehicle for their inner growth. As he said, the Vedas and the scriptures look upon the life of a human being as a process of inner growth, as a process of spiritual growth. All the material activities and material things are meant to serve as means for one's spiritual growth. Unfortunately, human being may take the material as an end and spirit as a means. Then the spirit becomes subservient to matter. Then, for example, whenever I compromise truth, or whenever I become violent, or whenever I violate any values, what am I doing? What I am doing is that I am in fact I'm offering spirit, or I'm sacrificing spirit for the sake of matter. And on the other hand, whenever I assert truth, honesty, or any of the values, then I am sacrificing matter for the sake of spirit. So this is simple thing. We are these two things, spirit and matter. Both are important. And as long as both of them are together, that is, I am able to pursue my material ends while also respecting the spiritual values, no problem. That is the way, that is why in the Purusharthas that we have Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Artha and Kama. Artha means the comfort and security, and Kama means the pleasure. It is recognized that these are the genuine needs, or these are needs of people. But then in this four Purusharthas of the human age, the Dharma is placed first. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Let Dharma or righteousness become the basis of acquiring Artha and Kama. Because then alone Artha, Kama, that comfort and pleasure will become a blessing to you only when they have been acquired on what we call the way of Dharma or righteousness. Otherwise, that very Artha and Kama will become really not a boon, but will become only a curse. So Dharma. That is how Dharma means that the matter is subservient to spirit. Matter is the means, the spirit is the end. Whenever we compromise Dharma, spirit becomes the means, matter becomes the end. That's the wrong thing. As Swamiji would say, as long as the dog is wagging the tail, it looks beautiful. When the tail starts wagging the dog, it becomes miserable. Similarly also, as long as the matter serves the purpose of spirit, it's beautiful. When spirit starts serving the purpose of matter, it is very ugly. So whatever ugliness that we see in our life is because of a not improper understanding of life. People are making the matter as end, and the poor spirit becomes a means, gets sacrificed or compromised. And therefore, Lord Krishna says that the life of a human being must become a process of inner growth or spiritual growth, and the matter should become the means to accomplish that purpose. And therefore, karma, or the activities that we perform in our day-to-day, may those activities be performed in such a way that every activity or every action that I do becomes a step in the direction of my spiritual growth. Therefore, Lord Krishna says that may you perform an action not as a means merely of producing some material ends, but may you perform an action as a means of spiritual growth. Last night a question was asked, but Swamiji, Arjuna said in the very first chapter, Na kangshe vijayam Krishna, na cha rajyam sukhani cha, kinno rajyene govinda, kim bhogair jivitena va. Arjuna said, Na kangshe vijayam Krishna, hey Krishna, hey Lord, I don't want victory. I don't want kingdom. I don't want pleasures. Kinno rajyena govinda, kim bhogehi jivitena. What is there in kingdom? What is there in victory? What is there in long life also? And if that is so, then what's the purpose of that? Therefore I will not fight. Because when I fight this battle, what will it bring? What will it accomplish for me? I'll get victory. And then I will get kingdom. And I will get all the means of pleasure. But suppose I am not interested in victory and kingdom and pleasure, then what's the need of this battle? So that was the justification on the part of Arjuna to renounce his action. Because I am not interested in the reward that this action is going to bring, and therefore I do not see any purpose in performing this action of fighting the battle. This was the position of Arjuna. Therefore, Lord Krishna had to show that, hey Arjuna, an action need not become merely a means of producing material results, but action can be so performed that it can become a means of one's spiritual prosperity or spiritual growth. So that is called yoga, that when an action is performed in the spirit of yoga, then it becomes a means of what we call one's spiritual growth. In the process, it will also bring material prosperity. It may need some more time, that's all. So people are there is impatience, and therefore we take shortcuts. So we want things quickly. If people are willing to wait, then Lord Krishna said already in this chapter, Anena prasavishyadvam eshavos tvishtakāmaduk. May you take this yajna, the spirit of sacrifice, may you adopt it in your life and may it becomes a means of a prosperity. So Bhagavad Gītā prescribes even the spirit of sacrifice or yajna as a means of material prosperity. The material prosperity that comes in the wake of spiritual prosperity. Then that material prosperity becomes a blessing. On the other hand, the material prosperity that may come at the cost of spiritual prosperity will become definitely a curse and not a blessing. So this is how Lord Krishna looks upon the life of human being, and therefore he doesn't want anybody to give up action. Because action is the only tool that we have to bring about our spiritual growth. If we give that up, what shall Swamiji, I will meditate. That's fine, provided I am ready for meditation. That's what Lord Krishna described earlier. That when a person is not ready for meditation, and he renounces his action and becomes renunciate and meditates, he can only meditate on all the things that he is not getting and all the things that is missing, that's all. How nice would it have been, right now instead of meditating, if he was watching my favorite TV show, how nice would it have been? That's all he can meditate upon. And therefore, meditation need not necessarily be a blessing if you are not ready for it. And therefore, Lord Krishna is elaborately making up a case as to why the action or the duty should not be given up. If I were not to perform the action, all the people would perish, because action is that which keeps the wheel of universe going, and if people stop participating, then this whole wheel will come to an end. Swami, what are you saying? A human being is nothing in this whole universe. What can human being do? A human being can bring about a lot of destruction. Human being has the capability of destroying because he is given the intelligence, which is a very powerful thing with which he can destroy. And that being the case, because people will do something anyway. If they don't do the right thing, they will do the wrong thing anyway. And in the process of doing wrong thing, they will perish. If I were not to perform action, these people would perish. Because nobody can remain inactive anyway. They will not do the right thing, then they will do all the wrong things. I would be the author of confusion in society, and I would destroy these beings. Lord Krishna says that the purpose why I took the incarnation is really to help the people. And by becoming inactive, I'll set a wrong example for the people, and that's how it will destroy the people. That's the reason why, Arjuna, you find that I'm always active and doing the right things in the right way in order to set an example for the people, even though I don't need it for my sake. So, having now established the case for performance of action, we expect now, Lord Krishna expects that Arjuna has understood that yes, he must continue to perform his action. Now Lord Krishna gives a few hints of how we should conduct ourselves when we go and work among people. So when a wise person goes and works among people, or when a mumuksha or enlightened, let us say one may not be wise, but one is a seeker. Then one is a seeker, one is committed to a life of yoga, committed to a life of righteousness, committed to a life of duty, and when that person goes and works in the midst of the people who may not be so committed, then how should we conduct? Because this is a problem, Swamiji, when you don't know, when you go to place of work, the people among whom you have to work, they have no such values at all. Then what should we do? So how should we conduct ourselves when we work in the midst of people who may not have this kind of values? Well, Swamiji, the whole world is selfish. All they are concerned about is their raise. All they are concerned about the promotion. All they are concerned about the profit. That's all they are concerned about, nothing else. That is how people will be. Now you have become an enlightened person and you know that now it is not the matter but the spirit is important, and then with that kind of a knowledge and understanding you go among the people and you find people quite following different values. What should we do? So in next couple of verses Lord Krishna addresses that thing also. Verse 25. सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्याद् विद्वांस्तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुर्लोकसङ्ग्रहम् सक्ताः कर्मणि अविद्वांसः. Avidvamsa, unwise. Saktaha, who are attached to the results of action, how they perform the action. Kuryat vidvams tatha, so too would the wise perform the action, asaktaha, without attachment. Loka sangraham chikishuhu, desirous of doing the loka sangraha or serving the people. So here Lord Krishna says that whenever you do something, you must do it with enthusiasm. It is very important that whatever we do is done with enthusiasm. But Swamiji, now you are saying that we should perform the action without demanding the reward. Then where is the incentive? This karma yoga, people lose the incentive. So far it was all fine. I was working hard day and night because I was driven by the performance, by the reward. So Arjuna, when you go to the world, you will find that the people are working hard because they are driven by the reward that their actions are going to bring. It is that which motivates the people. Where should the motivation come from? So Lord Krishna teaches, see, the leadership also he taught, now he is also teaching motivation. Usually motivation comes, so these are all management issues, important issues, really. Usually motivation of a person comes from the reward that his effort is going to bring. So when do I work hard? Swami, when? When they are going to appreciate what I do. I've been doing so much, there is no appreciation at all. Then why should I do? See, this colleague of mine who doesn't do half as good as I do, he got promotion, I didn't get it. I've lost all my interest in work. So our interest in work comes because of the reward that our work brings. And the reward need not always be in terms of money. It is not that I always want more money as a result of my work. Sometimes I want recognition. People feel, yes, oh, you've done a wonderful job. That's fine. That gives me gratification of my ego. That also is okay. Sometimes I want some fame, name, power, recognition, and wealth, prosperity. This, all or some of them is what I want as a result of performance. That's why we do things. Now what karma yoga is? Asaktaha teshu karmasu. May you perform your actions without attachment to the reward. That's it. We lose all our motive, enthusiasm. Some of you have lost all enthusiasm. So how can you perform action without attachment to the reward? So Lord Krishna, as I said, wants to shift the motivation from the reward to the very action. Whether we can do it or not is a different matter, but this is what we have to learn to do. It is true that today our motivation or enthusiasm comes from the possibility of the reward. And reward in material terms. Either reward in terms of money or reward in terms of recognition. Reward in terms of, they're all material terms. Recognition also is material, power also is material, name and fame also is material, and money also is material. All of this is material. And usually it is a material reward that becomes the basis for my enthusiasm, for my motivation. So Lord Krishna says, hey Arjuna, when you go out and work in the midst of people, you will find that all of them being motivated by the desire for reward. Saktaha karmani, you will find that the people usually are attached. They perform their action with attachment to the result. They perform their action with attachment to the action also. But then that is what gives them a lot of enthusiasm. You find people working with a lot of enthusiasm. Because, the promise of the reward creates a lot of enthusiasm in me. And that is very important. Enthusiasm is extremely important when we do something. Now, Arjuna, when you go, you are not interested in reward because now you are a yogi. Since you are committed to life of yoga, that means that now reward is not your reason for motivation. What is your reason for motivation? Your reason for motivation should be what? Here Arjuna, reward should not be your reason for motivation. Then what should be your reason for motivation? The action itself. Kuryad vidvams tatha asaktaha. Here Arjuna, you who is a vidwan or a wise person, may you also work with the same enthusiasm with which other people are working, except that the source of their enthusiasm is the promise of the reward. What should be the source of your enthusiasm? Chikeshu lokasangraham. That you are going to do something good, that your action will bring about something good to society. Let that become your source of enthusiasm. You see here, the two sets of people. One set of people and common set of people are those whose enthusiasm for doing something comes because of the promise of the reward that their effort will bring. Lord Krishna says, hey Arjuna, you also work with the same enthusiasm. Because karma yoga means, we are not interested in result, therefore we just do it, that doesn't work. Because now Swami, I'm not interested in money. It doesn't matter what he gives me, whether he recognizes me, it doesn't matter to me. But when these people, there's no enthusiasm in them. Formerly it was fine because that reward, he was working for. Now he understands that now reward is not important. So the enthusiasm is gone away. This is what happens to people when they listen to Vedanta in the beginning. Really. Because in Vedanta all the time you hear, the sense objects of the world, sense pleasures are all. There is no happiness in the material world, and there is no happiness here and no happiness there. You keep on hearing that and you start believing that also, because that's what Swamiji says, that's what Gītā says, that there is no happiness and security in wealth, no happiness and security in all these things. Fine. And also, we cannot be dedicated now just to seeking pleasure in my life. Okay. So all those pleasures that I was having formerly, I was given up because I'm not supposed to have them. And I have not yet discovered the pleasure of studying Gītā. Still I fall asleep and things like that, and still I cannot enjoy that. Swamiji, I open Gītā in 15 minutes, I have a headache. And so I have not yet started enjoying Bhagavad Gītā. So that joy has not become mine. And whatever joy I had of watching the TV serial also has given up. Because it's not right to them. One of my students used to tell me, Swamiji, whenever I watch TV, I remember the Swamiji. I feel guilty. Every time I watch TV, I feel guilty and I remember Swamiji, The Swamiji has said that it's not right to do that, Some people tell us, Swamiji, now I no more go to parties. I don't go to friends. I don't go to movies. I don't go to weddings. I don't go anywhere. But you find those people so dull, I say you better go there, because if by not going there, if you are going to become so dull, and if the life has lost all enthusiasm, that's not the thing, that's not what Vedanta wants it. Vedanta hopes that we discover a better source of joy, a lasting source of joy, that we give up what we call ephemeral sources of joy so that we discover a lasting source of joy. But this is given up, that is not acquired. In between, I'm hanging in between, So this is what happens to people when they listen to lectures on Karma Yoga. Perform your duty without expectation of result. And we try to do that. It is result that was so far giving me motivation and enthusiasm to do things. The result now is no more interesting, and I'm not supposed to be interested in result. And the action does not interest me at all, and therefore I lose my enthusiasm totally. So that is, Lord Krishna says, no, enthusiasm is the most important thing in work. You find people in the world working with a lot of enthusiasm. How can a person run from morning till evening, day in and day out, working 12 and 14 hours a day? For what? You don't know. But a lot of enthusiasm. And that's what enables them to accomplish things. Here Arjuna, Tatha Kuryat, you also work with the same enthusiasm. Except that your enthusiasm or motivation should come from Chikishuhu Loka Sangram. It should come from the very action that you are performing. What is the reward? There is no reward for you personally. But your action will bring reward to others. And that way it does bring reward to you also. There is always a reward involved. I should say that without reward nobody does anything. But reward in a different way. There is one reward in eating food. There is other reward in feeding somebody. There is a reward there also. It is not that in feeding somebody that I do not get the reward, in fact I get a better reward. So every mother has this experience of feeding their children. And sometimes those fellows wipe out everything, whatever is cooked, everything is wiped out. If I was serving them, I always keep some portion aside, and then serve them the rest. But mothers don't do that. They don't have the sense to do that. They just serve their children. And sometimes these fellows don't bother whether anything is left or not. And mother may have nothing left for her. It doesn't matter. Because the joy comes in when the mother finds that the child is enjoying the food and is happy eating the food, that itself gives the happiness, and therefore you don't need to eat in order to be happy. So there is no rule that the happiness has to come necessarily because of material reward or because that I get something. The happiness can very well come when I become an instrument for somebody's happiness, and that happiness is in fact a longer lasting happiness. And that's the kind of happiness that Lord Krishna wants us to discover. Happiness everybody wants. Without happiness nobody can survive. The mind always wants happiness. Lord Krishna says that let happiness come from giving rather than from demanding, that's all. Understand that a lot of happiness is there, but you will discover it when you start doing it. And therefore Lord Krishna says that you should work with the same enthusiasm, but the enthusiasm that comes with the desire, from the desire of doing good to the people. In the next verse, Lord Krishna also continues to give one more hint. न बुद्धिभेदं जनयेत् अज्ञानां कर्मसंगिनां जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन् न बुद्धिभेदम जनयेत अज्ञानाम कर्म संगिनाम. One should not create any disturbance in the understanding of the ignorant who are attached to the results of the action. Na buddhivedam janayet. Here Arjuna, may you not unsettle the minds of the people. May you not unsettle the minds of the people. So when you go out in the world, when you see people totally attached to the material ends, totally attached to the pleasures, And that is what gives them the enthusiasm to perform the action. Do not unsettle their mind. Don't start preaching them, hey, what are you doing? You are leading a material life. Give it up. You are totally dedicated just to the sense pleasure. That's not the way to live. You must learn to discover the happiness from your own self. Don't start lecturing this to the people. Lord Krishna says, Because they will listen to you and they'll be impressed by what you are saying to them. And so what will happen? They will give up, as I just said, by listening to Vedanta, we give up all the little pleasures that we are having. And so also by listening to your discourses, people will think that it is not the right way to perform the actions for material ends, and therefore we should not do that. And what will happen is they have not yet discovered the kind of incentive that is required to perform action to make others happy, yajna. So one has not yet discovered the joy that comes by serving, and one has given up the joy that comes by eating. Both of them are given up. So Lord Krishna says, do not unsettle the minds of the people. Let them do whatever they are doing. Don't go and preach them. Let them do what they are doing. You work among the people and you do what you have to do. If you want to really help the people by slowly changing their perspective of life, let it happen slowly. You go among them, live with them, work among them, gain their respect, gain the position of importance, then people will feel that Arjuna is really something all right, and then slowly you can turn around. But then simply unsettling the beliefs of the people. People have certain beliefs in their life which are very important. It is what I am is nothing but my beliefs. Lord Krishna says in the 17th chapter, Yo yash shraddha mayoyam purusha, yo yash shraddha sayeva saha. This person is only made up of his belief, his faith. And whatever the faith is, so the person is. So everybody has certain faith and certain belief. Lord Krishna is giving a general instruction here. Do not unsettle the minds of people. That means do not break down or do not assault their beliefs. Because even if my belief is wrong, let us say, but that is what sustains me. Right now, whatever enthusiasm I have of living the life comes from whatever belief system I have. Suppose I am here, I believe in heavens, let us say. And my whole life is dedicated in going to heavens after this death. I perform all kinds of things I do. Agnihotra, karma, all I do, all kinds of things I do, austerity and penance in my life, so that after that I will go to heavens. That's my belief. Now a Swami goes on and says, what are you doing? Hey, I want to go to heavens. What heavens? Where is heavens? Which heavens are you talking about? Has anybody seen? Has anybody come back from heavens? Heaven and hell is all here and stuff like that. Suppose we say that. And because you have a superior, you are more intelligent or you are more skillful, let us say, in argument and stuff like that, you can somehow convince that there is no such thing as heaven, let us say. So what will happen? He is totally unsettled. So far he was living his life for going to heavens. And that is what gave him all the motivation to do whatever he was doing. And now that there is no heavens, he stops doing anything now. This is just an example. I don't know, this heaven business came to my mind, but nobody nowadays works for heaven anyway. But that's why I took the example, so that nobody is unsettled here. Even in India also nobody bothers about heaven these days anyway. It was in the Vedic times, I guess, that heaven was important to people. I don't think heaven is an important thing for people even in India today. But anyway, that's why. But whatever it is, that is a belief. A person lives a life based on a certain belief, certain hopes, certain expectations. This is what keeps people going. That is what gives them the enthusiasm to live the life. And if we go and with our superior knowledge now, we break down, all their belief, there may be wrong belief also. But even if it is wrong, there is a belief. When I break that belief, then this person is now left with no belief at all. When he is left with no belief or no faith, he is left with no enthusiasm to live the life. And that is how he will become inactive. He will be destroyed. If you want to change his belief, do it in a subtle manner. First of all, create in him a respect for your own belief. And let him see whatever limitations are there in his belief. And let him slowly discover, And that is how the change will take place. But don't suddenly unsettle the minds of the people. This is true of everything. People come to listen to lectures of Vedanta, Bhagavad Gītā. Very often only one of the spouses comes, Either husband comes or wife comes. Very often the woman comes and husband doesn't care, sometimes. So, and this lady is very much interested. She listens to Gītā classes and, the husband may come to drop her to the class and then pick up her again, but he will not come inside. And listening to Bhagavad Gītā, she is so enthused. She goes home and says, what Swamiji says, and then she starts, and she has learned a lot of lessons here of what we should do, what we should not do, and she starts going and preaching her husband, hey, you should not do this is not right, this is not good, that's it. That fellow gets furious. Who are you? You are, because first of all, you should not even teach this or give this to somebody who is not interested in it or who doesn't want it also. But in our enthusiasm, we go and start lecturing people, preaching people. People have no use for it and have no interest in it. And then you are attacked. What happens is, he makes sure that you stop coming to the class. That's all that's what happens sometimes, Because by allowing her to go to class, she has become a nuisance in the house. And therefore, so Lord Krishna said, Lord, let people do whatever they are doing. Because understand that what they believe is very important to them. And this is what keeps them motivated and going in their life with enthusiasm. In short, do not do anything which will assault their enthusiasm. That's all is meant here. So you find people in the world merely running after the material ends, let them run after that. Don't tell them right now because they're not ready to understand. If they're ready to understand, do tell them. But person is not always ready to understand what you have to say, and if you say renounce all actions, it's true. That's what some people go and say, renounce everything, because that's the ultimate teaching of the scriptures. But the person is not ready to renounce. People renounce them. Some Vedantic teachers also go and say, Advaita Vedanta, and then teaching of non-duality. What is this worship? What are you doing? There is no worshipping whom? Who is worshipping whom? You are Brahman. You are worshipping yourself. Doesn't make sense. And so all forms of worship are all dismissed. Now when people go home, what do they do? Now that Swamiji has said that worship is all wrong because it involves duality, because there is a duality between the worshipper and the worshipped, and we are talking of non-duality. So when you worship, that means you are perpetuating duality. So he gives up that. And non-duality is far away from him. And therefore, he is neither here nor there. It's called Ubhaya Bhrashta. So rather than let him do what he is doing, because it is useful. It may not be as useful as his meditating upon Aham Brahmasmi. It may not be. But he can't meditate upon Aham Brahmasmi anyway. And he gives up worshipping Brahma also. That means that he is nowhere. Na buddhivedam janayet. Therefore, do not unsettle the minds of the people. We must, before even teaching anybody, before telling anything to anybody, we must first understand that person and what are the motivations, what are the things that are actually important for that person. Let us understand them and make sure that you do not assault the things that are important. Even though it may not be important to you, it's important to that person, which is very important. Ajnanam, karma sanginam. So ignorant people are always attached to their rewards, and that's how they perform action. Let them do that. Joshet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharan. A wise person should perform the action selflessly, okay. but engage people, other people in action. Lord Krishna says action is at any rate more important than inaction. Even action performed with a selfish hand is better than not doing anything. So when a person does not do anything, nothing can be accomplished. Even if he performs a self-centered action, something gets accomplished. So that is better than remaining inactive. So if you go and unsettle their mind, then they will stop doing whatever they are doing. So rather than let them do what they are doing, and then slowly help them and guide them. Jo said sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharan. This wise person should help them engage in activities. You perform them well and help them performing the actions well. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vadarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.